devotees. Welcome to Krishna Kathamritam program. Thank you all for joining today. As you all know, that Janmashtami is just 2 days away. It's the day after tomorrow, Friday. And the excitement is building, and there's so many services happening, and the preparation is in full swing. Krishna Kathamritam is a way for us to connect the Supreme Lord by reading Srimad Bhagavatam and reading Krishna's pastimes. The more we hear, the more we develop the spiritual consciousness to celebrate and with great devotion and divinity. With that, today we have two wonderful devotees presenting the pastimes. First, we have Radha Damodar Prabhu, who will be presenting Krishna's pastime. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to describe the pastimes of Krishna. And thank you Satsara Prabhu and Sri Jayasudra Mataji giving me the opportunity. So let me start with prayers. I unfortunately didn't have any slides to share, but I'll be sharing my screens a little bit. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudriyate Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtagi Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumudamena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Mugam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Lanke Dekrim Yat Kripatam Mahamante Sri Gurum Tiratarana. Hare Krishna. So let me try to share the screen. So today's the topic is the song sung by the Gopis. And, the background I would like to explain first. The background is that Krishna before during the Ras Leela, Krishna found was all the Gopis were attracted to Krishna. They were doing wonderful Ras Leela pastimes. Then Krishna could sense all of the Gopis were actually feeling very proud. The pride was felt and understood by Krishna himself. And the pride was that Krishna, each and every Gopis were thinking that, I am the most fortunate person and others are not that fortunate. That thought of the pride was not good. Krishna doesn't like any pride in all of us. So that's a very important thing for us to remember, that we cannot have pride. Krishna will immediately act upon it. So to remove our pride. So same thing Krishna did with the Gopis. Gopis, he all of a sudden disappeared from the sea. Right? Then when they disappeared, that's when they started searching for Krishna. These are the songs sung by. Then they felt the separation from Krishna. They felt their fault, and they understood their mistake. They started describing, through a song. That is the song of Gopi Gita, known as. So that's what we are going to talk about it today. I am least qualified to describe this. This is a very intimate topic, and this is not to be. This should be heard from acharyas such as Srila Prabhupada. These topics can be misunderstood, so we have to be very careful when try to understand such pastimes. Ideally, it is said that we should read the whole Bhagavatam, chapter 1, 2, 3, like that, until we reach the 10th chapter before we getting into these details. But this is for our understanding that those who we are chanting, so it is we are already ready to know this, but it's we should have the right platform and mindset to understand this the Gopi Gita. So there are many in the mood of separation. There are many things described by the Gopis. Right? So each and every verse in this one is elaborate topic by itself. So I'll touch upon some of the topics in the given 15 minutes time. So the Gopis were actually saying to Krishna that once they realized that they have that problem, they made the mistakes. So one of the Gopis were saying, "My dear Krishna, ever since you took your birth in this land of Vrajabhumi, everything appears to be glorious. The land of Vrindavana has become glorious, and it is as if the goddess of fortune is personally always existing here. But it is only we who are unhappy, very, very unhappy, because we are searching for you, but cannot see you with our greatest effort. Our life is completely dependent on you. Therefore, we request that you again come to us." So this is the mood of the Gopis, and we have to be very careful that we cannot imitate them, right? At our neophyte stage, we might think, okay, oh, why can't I be like the Gopis? That is a thought that can come, but we have to be very careful because this is very advanced, advanced devotees, meaning this is called instantaneous love for Krishna, meaning you are always, your mind is always in the thoughts of Krishna. That is the stage of these Gopis. They are for the pleasure of Krishna. So their thoughts are very pure. There is no contamination, right? There is no lust involved here at all. So and they're always longing to see Krishna's presence, and their longing for Krishna increases as when they are separated also. So this is the stage when it is in a separation. That is the highest amount of ecstasy a devotee can receive when in the mood of separation. And this song is sung in the mood of separation. So you can see always that you cannot. Everybody is happy because they are all living in Vrindavan. Vrindavana is glorious place. Wherever Krishna is there, that place becomes Vrindavana. And wherever Krishna is there, everybody is happy, and everybody is everything is all the things are auspicious there. And here we can see that they were still feeling unhappy because they were searching for Krishna. And without Krishna, they have no life. They are fully surrendered to Krishna. They are completely dependent on Him. So that is the mood in which they are. Now, I will take another one of the most famous verse from Gopi Gita. So for the completion of that, it's the Kathamritam verse. I'll just sing quickly this one. Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Vipuritam Kalmashapatham Sravanamangalam Srimatatam Bhuvi Granate Bhurita Jana Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavipiriditam Kalmashapatham. So this is one of the famous verse because This is the verse which was sung by in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Leela pastime, King Prataprudra to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So, and it is in the garden. It's a very famous pastime. And the beauty of this verse is that uh, first of all, let's see the meaning of it. The nectar of your words and description of your activities are the life and soul of those who are suffering in this material world. And these narrations, transmitted by learned sages, eradicate one's sinful reactions and bestows good fortune upon whoever hears them. These narrations are broadcast all over the world and are filled with spiritual power. Certainly, those who spread this message of God are the most munificent. These are very this is the essence, basically. So if we talk about Krishna's, or think about Krishna's activities and his pastimes, that purifies us. Just by reading Krishna stories every day, our heart gets purified. Just automatically, his activities, pastimes, forms, name, everything is non-different from Krishna himself. So when we associate with Krishna, our heart gets purified and we can go back to Krishna very easily. And these are, and all these learned sages and all those people who are self-realized, they do this exactly the same thing. They talk about Krishna. They always enjoy these stories of Krishna are never boring, right? And you can talk about over and over again. That's what all realized souls are doing, right? Like, ideal example is Bhagavan Narada. Narada Muni always sings his glories. Lord Shiva, we have in the Bhagavatam, there are many glories of the songs we are narrating through our Bhagavad Sangha program also, right? That's because the moment we glorify Krishna by by the glorification given by this self-realized soul, most advanced devotees, we also get purified. We are technically we are not qualified to even glorify the Lord because we don't know. So only these elevated devotees can actually glorify Krishna. And if we follow their path of glorification, we are qualified to sing those songs. That's why we are sing Brahma Samhita. Lord Brahma has praised, glorified Lord Krishna through Brahma Samhita. When we every day, if we can sing Brahma Samhita, we are directly glorifying Krishna. So these are the things which we can do at our position. And if you see the last sentence here, certainly those who spread the message of Godhead are most munificent. What does that mean? That means that ideal example is Srila Prabhupada himself. Srila Prabhupada spread this whole message of Krishna to the whole world, entire world. And it is our duty also to spread this message to as many people as possible. People are unfortunate by not having this knowledge. So it is our duty as devotees to spread this message. That's all, Mataji. Back to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. That was very beautiful, Prabhu. Very nicely you described the mood of the gopis and what they are feeling, the separation from Krishna. And then very nicely, very melodiously, you sang that famous verse. It was very beautiful, Prabhu. It's the first time I'm hearing that. It's very nice and nicely you described what it means and narrated the various pastimes connected with that verse. That was very beautiful. And I think the last message you said is it's our duty to spread Krishna consciousness. And in fact, Janmashtami is one of the ways the biggest ways that we can do that, connect more and more people to Krishna, and make them experience Vrindavan here in Austin. So that was a very beautiful message, Prabhu. Thank you so much. With that, next we have Prashanth Prabhu presenting the Krishna's pastime. Hare Krishna, Prashanth Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I will share my screen. Let me know if you guys can see it.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Veena Mataji, Satsar Prabhu Mataji, and devotees for this opportunity to speak on from the Krishna book, chapter 20. This is the description of autumn. So we'll start with quick prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Bhutana Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Charini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Devasthaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so chapter 20 is it's a very it's not a pastime chapter. It's very, I think, philosophical chapter almost. It's after the killing of the demon Pralambasura, and then it's talking about the transformation from the rainy season to autumn. And in the chapter, it describes basically all the different ways of how the rainy season is reflective of material nature, and how the world in Vrindavan at the time reflected a lot of things that we go through today in our lives. And then it talks about how the transformation from the rainy season to the autumn season is similar to transformation of heart, where if we understand Krishna and we understand Krishna consciousness, we will progress in our spiritual lives. So I picked basically a few select lines from each that demonstrate kind of each concept. So the first one is these are basically all just analogies that are written. So the first one is for Brahma Jyotir, and it talks about how the symptoms of the rainy season are compared to the symptoms of the living entities who are covered by the three modes. So we are all covered by the three modes, and it talks about how, if we look at the sky before the rainy season starts, it's there's maybe a few clouds, and that's basically who we are, basically the creatures that are covered by the clouds. Krishna and Supreme Brahman is like the unlimited sky, and we are like the people living underneath the clouds. They're the few clouds that are there, and because we are under these clouds, we are we are under these three modes of material nature. And Prabhupada explains that the spiritual effulgence, which is Brahma Jyotir, is like the sunshine, and we are these people under these few clouds, where sometimes sunshine comes through the cloud, but sometimes it doesn't, and we're covered. So it's the sun shines everywhere, but because we are underneath these clouds, we are still under the influence of material nature. The other one is material piety. So it's explained that when the rainy season comes, there's clouds have a lot of rain, and continually for 8 months, the rain gets picked up by evaporated by the sun, and this is what becomes the clouds. But when the rainy season comes, it's like the rain or the demigods, Krishna, are basically giving back to Mother Earth, and there's an example of Maharaj Dasaratha, Lord Ram's father. He approached them. He said that when he was fighting enemies, he approached them just like a farmer uprooting unnecessary plants and trees. And when there was a need of giving charity, he used to distribute money exactly like the clouds distributed rain. And the clouds, they distribute rain regardless of where it is. Even if it's on oceans or seas, there's still rain that falls down and that falls on rocks and hills. So even when there's no need for water. So what we can take away is, shouldn't be attached to whatever material gain or whatever material things that we have. We should be, freely distributing them, just like rain, just like how rain falls, and rain falls everywhere, and indiscriminate of what it's falling to. And then the next one is Karma Yoga. Talks about how the whole surface of the globe before the rainy season, is very dry. This is similar to all the austerities and penances that people do in Karma Yoga and Karma Kanda to get some material benediction. And the rainfall is like the demigods and Krishna rewarding Mother Earth or rewarding people that have done penances. And after the rainfall, the whole surface of the earth becomes green with vegetation. So the comparison is made that we sacrifice, if we perform sacrifices, if we perform yajna, as devotees, we should do it for the pleasure of Krishna. The result is that, at some point, there'll be like the rainy season where our desires are fulfilled. But I think, if we're in Karma Yoga, it's desire something material, and it's for material fulfillment. Also, an analogy for material knowledge, it talks about basically how in the rainy season in India, there are glowworms in the sky, and they glitter like lights, and we are attracted to them. But the true luminaries of the sky, which are the sun and the stars and the moon, are not visible. And what that's akin to is in material nature, we are attracted to things that are shiny, that are close to us, but we have to look past those and look at the true source of everything, which is Krishna. And similarly, we have to see the stars and the moon instead of seeing something that's just shiny in front of us. Next one is kind of material desires. This is similar to the one above, where all of our desires are fulfilled if we do penances. But it talks about how when it's summertime, everything becomes very dry, and that's just like us in our life, where we will have maybe material ups and downs, and sometimes it'll appear to be very dry, where we may have desires, and we may not be those desires may not happen to us. But I think Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right, it's like the coming and going of seasons. But when the rainy season comes, it's like all of our desires are now being fulfilled, and it seems like we are now opulent and flourishing, but in reality, it's going to go back to being dry at some point. So our karma is going to dry up, and we will have to, do more piety or do more something to get back to being opulent. It talks about how ultimately, we are all looking for happiness, and we may think that, but we are looking for happiness, which is the water in the dry season, and it's like looking for water in a desert. There may be water there, but it's going to be very insignificant. And then the material way of life is like that. We're looking for happiness in the desert, so we will basically never find it, and we'll never have satisfaction, because at some point the lakes and ponds, just like the lakes and ponds, that water is going to go away because the summer season is going to come again. So it's important to realize that material life, we are in the material world, so material life is a part of what we have to engage in, but we have to do it for the pleasure of Krishna, because otherwise we're going to be in this cycle of birth and death, and we're going to be in this cycle where happiness and distress are like the seasons. There's also several paragraphs that talk about the spiritual master, and it talks about how the spiritual master is when the rainy season comes, all the frogs begin to croak, and that's similar to students suddenly engaged in their reading or their studies. And students are, they're supposed to rise early in the morning, and they usually rise not of their own accord, but because there's a spiritual master, or they're at a temple, or they're somewhere where there's an order to do something. So it talks about the importance of the spiritual master, right? So when the rainy season comes, it's the key point here is everyone is sleeping in darkness of Kali Yuga, but when there's a great acharya like Prabhupada, everyone takes the study of Vedas to acquire actual knowledge. I'll go through a couple more. So transformation through Krishna. This one is that when the rainy season happens, everything becomes more refreshed. Everything now has water, and that's very similar to in transformation to being engaged in loving service of the Lord. And Prabhupada says we have practical experience of this with our students. So our students who were us, right, were devotees, we're trying to be devotees. They are, we are dirty inside. We have, but we have no knowledge of Krishna. We have no connection to Krishna. But once we engage in Krishna consciousness, we sincerely engage, our health improves, and we follow rules and regulations, our mind improves, we get rid of our anarthas, and we wear tilak, we wear clothes for the pleasure of the Lord, and Prabhupada says we look exactly as if we come directly from Vaikuntha. I'll do two more. Krishna's position. So this one is talking about how there's rainbows in the rainy season, and the rainbows appear to stand as though they're not attached to anything. But it's very similar to Krishna, because Krishna appears and appears in the material world, and the Supreme Lord appears. He appears like an ordinary human being, but just like a rainbow, he's not actually resting on anything material. So this is, it's explaining that Krishna comes to the material world, but he's not actually part of the material world. He's aloof from the material world. Go through just this one, I think. So it finally talks about the end of the chapter, talks about after going through the rainy season, autumn comes, and when autumn comes, all of the sky is completely cleared and it's recovered to its blue color, and lotuses appear in the forest because they've become beautiful by resuming their spiritual life. So it's important that we go through this process ourselves, and when we are materialistic and we take to Krishna consciousness and we come to spiritual life, we will also become as clear as the sky and water in autumn. So I think the whole chapter is many different ways how the rainy season reflects our personal material engagement and material world, and then also how certain aspects of the rainy season and the transformation to autumn reflect spiritual practice and spiritual growth. I will end here, Mataji, and then we're 2 minutes over.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. That was a very beautiful comparison, Prabhu, with the rainy season and the autumn. I really like how I know Prabhupada has beautifully described how Brahmajyotir is compared to the clouds and how the atom is compared to the spiritual practices. And especially the point that we are looking for happiness in material world, which is just like water in the desert, which is not even existent, and or if at all, it'll dry up soon. So the beautiful comparisons of various aspects of the autumn season and the rains and clouds, Prabhu. That was very beautiful. Thank you so much. With that, devotees, we will conclude our Krishna Kathamritam program. Today is the last day for Krishna Kathamritam. Thank you all sincerely for attending the program. And Janmashtami is on Friday, August 19th. The program starts from 5 o'clock and goes till night 12:30. Midnight, we have Aarti and cake cutting. And there are lots of activities and cultural programs, Palki Yatra. There is Matki Ford, which you can register for it. There is going to be like a butter pot and can form the pyramid shaped structure and break the pots. It's a great opportunity to be part of a very beautiful, it's almost like Vrindavan in Austin. Great celebrations. It's a 2-day celebration, August 19th and 20th. Please do come at Hare Krishna Temple of Austin. With that, thank you all for joining today for the Krishna Kathamritam program. Hare Krishna.